Welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. We have already been talking a bit, so if you're curious to that, it's been a good opening salvo already from my guest at this time. So for that, do check out our Patreon at patreon.com/GreyhornPagans. That is the Warrior Aristocrats tier for early access and the full unedited podcast. But my guest at this time, the opening salvo that he gave was quite something already. So, Joe Kappa, thank you for joining me. And for those who may not be familiar with you or your work just yet, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? What's your secrets?
All right. Well, my name is Joseph Kappa. I've spent a career as an attorney, both as a trial attorney and doing transactional work as well, estate planning and estate work. I have always been a studier, and due to one particular experience based upon reading as if I was going to pass a final exam at the end of my days since I was a little boy. You know, I'm reading labels and whatever have I used to go to school an hour early to go to the library to read books that nobody read. I've read things that nobody had read. I've read things that priests never read, things like that. Yeah, it's been fun. So anyway, I had a particular experience, and I hit a point of being able to identify the world as follows. You know how we use the Cartesian plane for mathematics? The x-axis and the y-axis. All right, so we use it for mathematics, and the x-axis is all that can be seen and can be measured. Any x or any n, any number. And any x is any orientation in one of the four quadrants. Well, if you look at it as if it was you, the human body, you are the stick figure, you are the y-axis. Okay? And everything that you see in your line sight is at the horizon, the x-axis. Any direction you're looking in. Okay? The first quadrant is everything above that line of horizon above you. You always look upwards. You're supposed to, right? So that's the first quadrant. And that's where we do all of our measuring for math, because it's just easier and there's no negative numbers and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, but you can repeat it in all four quadrants, right? You can repeat the same math in all four quadrants. Well, now the behind you, so in the front quadrant is all positive that you can see, X, and Y, you can understand what you're seeing. So Y is consciousness, and X is everything you see. X is Mother Nature, everything you see, and Y is Father Consciousness. You are the Y-axis, and while X is at 0, Y is at 1, cosine, consciousness sign. The cosine is not a help to sign. Measuring the world only on the x-axis is sin. And to do it only that way is sin extended. Sine. Sine means sin extended. So you got to measure from cosine, a conscious understanding of all x. You don't just measure x. You must start from a conscious framing. You are that conscious framing. You are that pillar, that y-axis. Think of yourself standing in the pool, right? With your eyes at the water level. All in the first quadrant is everything above the horizon, above the water line. That's what your line sight. Positive X, positive Y. I can see it. I can know it. Behind me, I can't see it anymore. Negative X. But I can still remember it's there. I just walked past it, so I know it's there. So it's negative X, positive Y. Your six, your backside, your back quarters, that in the military they say cover your six because you can't see and you can't know what's going on there. And then below you, in front of you, you don't quite have focus on it, right? You can see what's there, but you may not be paying attention. So it's positive X, negative Y, and that's how sometimes people trip because they weren't paying attention. Weren't consciously aware of what's going in front of them as they're walking. So if you look at the world as the whole Cartesian plane, this is what Descartes really meant. He wasn't talking about just mathematics, but they limited it. What we teach is just about the math. But if you look at the whole world that way, now think of the baby laying in a crib, right? And it's staring up at a mobile, right? And it's now becoming consciously aware of itself in this situation, right? And it's looking up at that there mobile. And the first sound the baby makes is ah, the A sound. It's the first sound any creature makes. Cats make it, dogs make it. Everybody makes The letter A is a stick figure of a person. It used to have a circle on top. It's a stick figure of a person, me, the source. The letter A means source. And so what did baby do when it says I, then closes its mouth? We say meaning me, I am, right? Am. But what it means in phonics and baby phonics is me source, means me source. If you know the pre-apocalypse phonics, it's the whole world used to speak before the apocalypses. They were baby phonics. And wait a minute, if AM is the me source, then the opposite of that, the opposite of AM would be the source of me. So what's the opposite of AM?
It's ma.
Yeah. And that's why every infant says ma, because ma is the source of me. And da is the one that goes away and comes back. Da, da. He goes away and comes back. And all the baby phonics are all the letters we use to this day. So think about the baby now reaching his hand, A, source. And it reaches his hand. Think of the letter B in normal, like, Anglo alphabet. The B, that's you, the pillar. And your action with your hands is going forward in the semicircle. That's you acting. So AB means, what's B mean in that situation when it's following the A? It means away from source. So ob and any word meaning starting AB means away from source. And what's the baby do with his hand? It goes ob and it reaches out. And then it swats at the thing hanging there. Bah. Now its hand, the B is in front of the A. Now the source is towards. So B goes from being away from source to ba being source towards. And ba ba is what it does with two hands, and that's why it calls that thing you drinks from a baba. You see? And when it finally
Yeah, okay.
catches,
I mean,
and when it finally
this
catches
goes
that
for the English
mobile
language.
hanging, right, and when it finally catches that thing hanging in the mobile crib there, it caws it, contacts it, catches it, collapses it, whatever it does, and it brings it towards itself. AD, odd, towards source. And then it springs back, away, source away, boom. And every letter in the alphabet is actually a baby phonic when you put them all together. And this is the pre-apocalypse language that everybody used to speak, but why all languages are similar.
That really reminds me of the book saga, actually, which also goes into phonetics a lot. I'm not well versed on the book saga, but a couple of friends of mine definitely are. That also really goes into, like I said, into phonetics and how phonetics and language and how so many words sound like each other and are like each other, and that language is indeed one of the very first things that got, well, corrupted, that got changed. I mean, we're thinking Tower of Babel, of course.
Yes, Tower of
So
Babel was
that's
when
very
God
interesting.
supposedly, the Tower of Babel comes from Babylon, which is all the evils of the world come from Babylon. Believe it or not, Babylonians, and we still have them all around us today, are Nazis. The
Oh, I know.
original Nazis of the Hindu word, Nazi. The children seeking ideological zenith. Nazi means children seeking ideological zenith. Their minds are closed in on all four sides by two Z's. A Z is a zenith. And if you have a zenith going one way and a zenith going the other way, your mind is closed in an imaginary box of ideas. That's a prisoner of ideology. That a child who's a prisoner of ideology is a Nazi. That's the original term, and they're still all around us to this day, in case you didn't know. But all
Oh, I
Babylonian
know.
things
I'm
that we think.
well aware.
I'll give you one example, and that goes to math. Now, remember we talked science before about the first law is science. The second law
Yeah.
is math. 10 to count in my 10 fingers, and 60, 5 fingers on one hand and 12 knuckles on the other, is how you measure all of space-time. So all of space-time must go in accordance with 60-base math. That's why we have the inch, the foot, the mile. Those are sacred math numbers. Pi is a sacred math number. We use 3.14, but it should truncate to 9. God. So 3.141 is the actual number pi. 432 adds up to 9. That's the God code. That should be the frequency we use in our broadcasts. That is the harmonic radio station, if you will, of the universe, which is why we're all at a tilt. They did that on purpose to make us good little consumers and ready for war at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that started World War I and World War II was the radio, in case you didn't know. It was the radio and broadcasting at 440 that got the people all like militarized and ready to kill each other over ideas. All
Yeah,
ideology is
I'm
the
aware.
proverbial
I'm
devil in the
aware of
details. Yeah,
cymatics, the
it's
study
all
of cymatics,
ideology
the
is
practice
evil,
of
and that's
cymatics.
and yeah, all ideology is the evil of the world. All ideology. The idea is that my idea, my construct of the world rules what the universe is upside down thinking. It's the other way around. I'm just a participant at a show. I'm not the show, if you will. I'm a cell in a much larger body. I can pick a house, I can pick a car, I can pick a career, but I'm just a cell in a body, situate comfortably in some kind of residence, interacting with other cells in a big
Okay.
conscious web.
Yeah, you are. So yeah, you are a participant in this show, but at the same time, you also take part in its creation, or at least in the storyline, in the progression of the storyline. Like, yeah, you maybe are a character on the show, but you still do have power over your own storyline. It's not
Yes. Oh, I
necessarily.
agree. But you've got to tell me what you want to know, what you think your audience wants to discuss. I can discuss any topic because if you look at what I was saying before about the X axis of everything you can see, that's Mother Nature.
Mhm.
X is mom, and X means orientation. Where is things oriented in these quadrants, right? That's X, any X. And that's why you use the number X for anything that's off the exact horizontal y axis. And you use the number N for anything on only measuring on the x axis. Well, if you are Y, think of every letter in the alphabet as when it has a tall standing, that's you. Every letter that has a tall up and down line, that's the person. The letter I is you, and the big I is the big I. If you look at it that way, it changes every language. But what it tells you is the following. We do share a common heritage that goes back pre-apocalypses. The apocalypses
Mhm.
were 12,900 years ago. Halloween and Ragnarok are memorials of the apocalypse. Zeus throwing thunderbolts to Earth is a memorial of the apocalypse. Gong Gong hitting his head and the Earth tilting 2.4 degrees to the southeast, which is why Antarctica froze and why the Sahara dried up and why the Middle East dried up, was because of the apocalypse. The people who lived in the center of civilization, which was America, erased from the planet. The Great Lakes formed one night. One night, the 5 Great Lakes appeared. They were punches into 2-mile thick ice sheets, and the comet that came was 600-mile wide. We saw it coming
Damn.
for 9 months. The Chinese say we saw it coming for 9 months. Zulong, red fire dragon. The Indians say that was Vertra, and he's the great red dragon in the Book of Revelations, and he's the Fenrir in the Icelandic nomadic, Viking logo. He's the
Yeah,
red wolf that broke
Fenris
his chains
Wolf.
to carry devour Earth. He's
Yeah.
He's a Comet and Leo, red and gigantic, and he's mad because of all the devotion people had to his little stepbrother, Enki. Anyway, listen to all this. He was the feathered serpent. Anyway, what happened is, as he came in, we saw him coming, and where was he coming? From Taurus the Bull, which we now call the Taurid meteor stream. And we saw him coming for 9 months. And he was coming from, guess where? The eye of the bull. And this is where we get the expression bullseye from. It came from the eye of the bull, this comet that destroyed the Earth. 4/5 of humanity died that night. 1,200 years of nuclear winter. 100 years of absolute nighttime darkness in the Northern Hemisphere. This is where the word nights come from. The people who held law and order after civilization collapsed, they were the ones where everybody was running during
That
the apocalypse, when things was raining down out of the sky and the sky was on fire. What color was the sky when it was on fire? The first comet fragment blew up in the sky over Siberia. So what color, from Europe's perspective, would the sky have been? black and orange, in the middle of the night at 11 o'clock at night, Ireland time. On October 31st, the sky caught fire and agents of death rained down upon humanity. You're standing there and all of a sudden the neighbor next to you, boom, he and his whole family just disappeared in a puff of smoke. There's maimed people walking in the street. They're already dead, covered in white ash, moaning. There's the zombies, the White Walkers, Germanic lore, right? These were the witches. And what did you do when people in death came to your door on Halloween? Did you hide and pretend not to be home, or did you invite them in and treat them, where we get the word medical treatment? Did you help people during the apocalypse, or did you hide for yourself? That's what the trick-or-treat and cure door is all about. It's about Halloween. It was about the apocalypse. Ragnarok. Fenrir came to destroy us. And what happened? Odin and his children and Thor, the Fenrir, broke him into pieces. And I'll stop there to what the aftermath was. What happened in Chinese lore? Gong Gong and his allies, not Odin and his children and Thor, but Gong Gong and his allies, people in the Toward meteor stream, right, defended us. They were blue and white, and they defended us against the red coming dragon. And if they broke the 600-mile wide dragon into 8 pieces, if it hadn't, it was nighttime for the Earth. It would turn the whole Earth into a fireball. Even as it did, it knocked the Earth 2.4 degrees off its tilt. The comet number 7 is Lucifer, the one that was so big and so bright it made it look like dawn was coming and destroyed like half of humanity when it landed. Within hours, half of humanity was
The
gone when
Dawnbringer.
Lucifer
Yeah.
landed.
Okay.
Yeah, Lucifer was a comet fragment. Enki and Leo were comets. And Enki interceded on humanity's behalf, and that's the only reason humanity survived the apocalypse. But the last piece of Enlil comes back 1,260 years later and hits the Atlantic Ocean, destroys Atlantis, causes a global tidal wave that washes away half of humanity in one terrible day and night. Half of humanity disappears. And after that, the Earth steamed up and the ocean levels rose 400 feet, and all those big nations became islands. The Fijian Islands and all the Polynesia, they used to be one big continent called Mu back before the apocalypse. And then after the apocalypse, the sea levels rose 400 feet. Now, that's how they were so good at navigation, because they've been traveling it for thousands of years. They used to be 500 feet away. Now they're 500 miles away. I know where they are. Well, that's how they could do it. And the reason the Vikings started in North America was not by accident. They knew it was there because there was the land that was destroyed. That was the Nephilim, where the giants lived, that were erased from the planet by the apocalypse. The people who built the pyramids and all those things that we can't replicate today were built by the people who are no longer here. Except for that occasional, you always see in the old tales, the giant out in the hills, the one lone left giant out in the mountains somewhere. Every tale, every right, Lord of the Rings. Odin and his children broke Fenrir into little pieces, and Fenrir sent evils. First, he sent the sea serpent that hit the Baltic Sea and caused a tidal wave. His name was Jagomir. And Thor he wrestled with that Jagomir, and he defeated Jagomir, threw him into the ocean, and Thor then crashed into the Greenland ice sheet and put a big hole in the ground. When his hammer hit the earth, he threw a mountain of ice on the east coast of the United States and buried the east coast of the United States. In the book of Revelations, that's called wormwood, the one that put a big hole that appeared to go down to hell in the earth and turned the water into wormwood. Wormwood's not poison. Wormwood is what you use to make the darts, because it sucks up all the poison. So wormwood is deadly projectiles. It turned the Greenland ice sheet, which extended way down, as you can imagine, back in those days, blew it up and covered Northeast USA and Canada, buried it in ice. But then the destruction happened. 4 hit, caused Lake Erie. At each one of them, I'm not Lake Erie. What's the first one? I can't even think of it right now. Then Western New York was number 5. And then 6 is the 4 Horsemen. It broke up into 4 pieces when it hit the ice sheet, thank God. 3 put lakes in the ground, Lake Huron, Lake Superior, and Lake Michigan. 3 pit fist punches into the ground, and the 4th one ran across the sky to the southeast and made 10,000 lakes. And he killed everything in its path as he flew by. We're talking chunks of ice as big as airports flying through the air. And then came
Mm-hmm.
number 7, and that was Lucifer. He hit to the west of the Rockies in what's now the scablands of southeastern Washington. All that land, all that green California spurgles, all that stuff. The Grand Canyon went from a mile wide to 18 miles wide. All that rock formations in Utah, all formed by the rushing waters. You can imagine about 700 feet high, traveling at about 1,000 miles an hour. It was the biggest lake because it had been melting since the age of Virgo the Virgin. It had been melting, so it was the biggest lake in the world, covering almost all of North America. So when the comet, thank God, hit it, it caused a great flood and destroyed the whole of that area and wiped away everybody there, except for the few giants that were later found, right? Their burials in Grand Canyon or whatever. But they were supposedly erased from the earth, just like the Mesoamericans say. When the feathered serpent had union with his sister, he, out of embarrassment, he went to pieces, lit himself on fire, threw himself in the earth. He caused thunder that can be heard all the way as far south as South America, earthquakes that can be felt far south as Central America, and a great flood in the north that washed away the giants that used to live there. So this is the apocalypse. All these tales are talking about the same event
Mm-hmm.
from different perspectives. And you're like, that one. I like to go off topic, you see?
No, yeah, I see. Although I am quite familiar with North Germanic mythology, I am Dutch myself, so they are the stories of my people, of my kin. From what
Thor was a
we
comet.
are
Odin was a
we
comet.
are
We
taught,
passed
or
by
from
every. Sorry.
from what the Eddas have taught us, is first of all that Fenrir was killed by Vidar, one of Odin's sons, and
Yes.
Thor battled with the world snake Jormungandr, and that was unfortunately
Yes.
mutual destruction because he did get poisoned after he did slay Jormungandr, the world snake, or the beast of the water, if you will. If you want to take it in those realms, he took 9 steps and then still collapsed of poison, with his sons surviving. So they were I guess you could say the second generation of gods, the sons of Odin, and the sons of, at least the sons of Thor, did survive.
Yes. Yes, we passed by them every fall, every October 31st, we passed by to the torrid meteor stream. His children still live. Thor was a comet fragment that fought
I
part
mean,
of the red dragon. He threw the red dragon into the ocean, and then part of that blue and white one that saved our lives hit with his hammer, hit the ground, and blew a mountain of ice that destroyed North America. That's what Thor did. Thor was a comet. His children do live on. We see them every fall. That's the torrid meteor stream. That's Odin's children and Thor's children that still live among us. Think of it that way. How did I blow
so
your
could
mind
you
or
also
what?
equate that? So could you also equate that to the Wild Hunt, to Odin's Wild Hunt?
Uh-huh. I don't know too much in the specific about the wild hunt, so I won't profess to speak on it. You tell me.
Well, it's the one day of year, of course in the fall. It's European folklore, when a supernatural ghostly procession of hunters, spirits, and hounds led by Odin and Frau Holle, if I'm not mistaken, storm through the sky during midwinter or Yule time. So let's say end of beginning of from the beginning of December. Yule time is around Christmas. It usually starts at around the winter solstice, so 21st of December, lasting till the 6th, 7th of January, or
You want
the first full moon of January, at least.
it? I love it. Do you know why?
Do tell.
I didn't know it, but it goes right with what we're talking about. The sun was blotted out. There was complete, absolute nighttime fire in the sky, ash falling on the ground. In the northern hemisphere, the Earth had been knocked 2.4 degrees off its tilt. You can imagine the disaster of it all. 4/5 of humanity is gone, dead. Not even they're not erased as if they weren't there. It was absolute night, and guess what happened all of a sudden around the December solstice? we could see the stars again. The sky started to
I
clear.
mean,
That's why there's a festival of lights all over the world in the Northern Hemisphere, because the starlight started to return. Three things cannot
I
remain
mean,
hidden for
it
long: the sun, the moon, and the truth.
true. No, but it does kind of make sense what you say about the nuclear winter. We in European folklore, Germanic mythology, it is, I believe, after Ragnarok, or right at the, or that's right at the beginning of Ragnarok. I don't know for sure. I need to brush up on it a little bit more.
It's okay. No, it's all
But
right.
we
But
have
I
the
appreciate the
Fimble
caveat.
winter, which is the Fimble winter is 3 winters in a row, non-stop. So that does sound like it could be a a nuclear winter of some kind.
Oh, it was all right. And matter of fact,
Preceding
do you
Ragnarok.
know?
So it's the prelude to Ragnarok. So the Fimble winter, 3 winters,
And that
no
winter could be, those could have been
sun,
really
no
long
spring,
winters,
no summer in between.
right? But it could have been worse than that, even, because here's my point. What the what the what the Book of Revelations tells us, it's actually, we're taught that it means the future, how we're going to die, but it's actually an account of the apocalypse. It actually tells you what each of the 7 comet fragments did. Those are each of the 7 angels blowing 7 trumpets and breaking seals. That was them breaking the sound barrier, screaming across the sky, and what destruction they brought. First one blew up in the sky and set the sky on fire. That's why the sky was black and orange. That's Halloween. Okay. Second one hit the ocean in the Barents Sea. That's why we find nanodiamonds there. And it caused a great tidal wave and destruction in the north. The third one put a hole in the ground, which we now found. I forgot what it's called, like Lake Victoria or something up there in Greenland. It's like an 18-mile wide hole caused by a punch into like a 2-mile high ice sheet. But there's nanodiamonds found there. That was 3. That's Thor. That's Wormwood. 4 made Lake Ontario. 5 made Lake Erie. 6 broke up, made Huron, Superior, Michigan, and all the Carolina Bays. Not all of them, because some of the Carolina Bays we know are from weather from millions of years ago. But these are directly all point to the intersection of the 3 lakes where Huron, Superior, and Michigan meet. Anyway, that you can imagine what an ice sheet unleashed, and that on flood on that side, and then a flood. Then Lucifer came and finished it off. Lucifer was the great deceiver. He made it look like dawn was coming. He was the morning star, but he brought darkness, death, and destruction. The 3
Mm.
Ds. That Lucifer was a comet. And now here's the problem with Babylon. Enlil, the comet that came to destroy us, becomes Marduk, becomes Yahweh, Allah, and God are Enlil, the one who caused the damage. Not Enki, the savior, the son of God, who isn't that much broadcast as Jesus and
Mm-hmm.
all Son of God type frameworks. Because Enki and the Archangel Michael and his horde, right? I remember every age. Gong Gong fell and hit his head and knocked the earth 2.4 degrees to the southeast. Well, that's why all the rivers and trying to go all to the southeast. It changed the waterways. The 7 dragons. Zulong came. We saw him coming for 9 months. He had battled Gong Gong, and he was defeated, but he unleashed his children. And the first one was like Zulong, came into the atmosphere and darkened the skies and caused great storms. And then the next one caused a foot layer of ash to be laid upon the planet. And then his big brother came and sat on the North Pole, tilted the earth and froze the earth. And then boom, ba boom, ba boom, each one. And then 1,260 years later, Baelong comes and he defeats Zulong. Aeon Long. Aeon Shang, who's sitting on the North Pole, is defeated by Baelong. Baelong, the white comet, comes and defeats him. And that's what restores life to the planet. And once he does, his brother Huan Long comes and uses his tail to carve new riverways to dry the planet. And then the other brother comes and turns the world gold again. And then the last one is Ki Long, turns the earth green again. Those are the 7 dragons of the apocalypses. So the apocalypse has happened, and all of the divisiveness and most ideology comes from silliness that came from ideas about the apocalypse. We still want this to this day. And there are those who in ancient India, following the apocalypse, did nothing but cause cognitive dissonance in rant against God. And they were children who were like possessed with this cancer of consciousness that you can't cure. They'll change uniforms, but they won't stop putting their ideas first instead of putting God first if you do it that way. It's just because it starts you on a narrow path. Otherwise, you're on a tightrope at all times between doing the right thing and doing what you want, right? That kind of thing. You're constantly on a tightrope, and that's not where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be well-grounded. Start at the well-grounded where the roots are, and then you can grow like hair, right? Does that make sense to you? So, and any ideology is looking, remember I said the letter I is the individual, right? It has a little dot on top, the lowercase I, that's you, I. And look at the me, that God is that tall line thing. Me and God are that same line, the y-axis. And look at the action. The action is a semicircle towards me. I am separated from source by my thoughts. And if you do that on all four sides, you've put a zenith, you've put a limit between contact with source on all four sides through ideas. You are blocked your mind in a box that only you can get out of.
That is following the Latin script. Yes, here in the Germanic countries, we had the runes, of course, which is a little different, but the ideas are the same. Although I do like what you're saying, and it makes math a whole lot easier. Actually, it makes a whole lot more understandable if you look at it not just as numbers and gradations and whatever, but actually the sum of consciousness, the sum of our world, the sum of who we are. Like a lot of people say that, or have said that, mathematics is is consciousness, is the sum of consciousness, is how you is like the language of God, if you will. And now I'm actually kind of starting to understand that, because I have always sucked at math. I've never had a teacher properly explain it to me. They always explain it
Can
to
I?
me in a
Can
way
I
that they
explain the
understand
second
it,
law?
but I never did. Yeah, please do.
All right. So the first question, remember we asked, you and I just woke up. Let's go back to that, because all of what I'm going to discuss with you from here on out, for as many hundreds of hours as you want to spend, I'm yours. My pleasure, because I have much to teach. The first question is, what is this place? We agree. Do we not agree? That's the first question. And the first question is science. What is this place? And all science is trying to answer, what is this place? Whether you're into fiber optics or engine, right? Or biotechnology, whatever, what we can do in this world is based on what we know about this world. That's science. Well, the next question we need to know, for example, if I need to use the restroom or need to feed myself or need to get off my chair or you to get out of that studio or adjust your dolls, you need to measure. So you need to count. That's 10. You have 10 fingers. And you need to measure space-time. And that would be 5 fingers from one hand and 4 knuckles from the other. 5 and 12 is 60. Now, numbers, just like letters that I was telling you before, letters are actually stick figures of humans in action. I don't know why they don't. Nazis, reason you don't know is because of Nazism. All ideology is why you don't know what true reality is all about. The characters in the alphabet are stick figures of humans in action and things and objects in our world.
If we're looking at the runes, I can understand that. I have heard that.
So now let's take it to numbers. So the number 1 and the letter I are both one finger. Okay? That's why they look alike, because they're the same thing. When I pointed at me, am 1. And it's never polite to point at anyone else. But I am 1. So the letter I is me. I. Okay? And it's me am 1. Well, 3 is creation. Here's how you know. Every story has 3 parts, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Every body has 3 parts, a head, abdomen, and thorax. How many knuckles does it take to create a finger? 3. How many points of space-time does it create to make an object? Right? 3 points of space-time to create a triangle. So 3 is creation, and actually the number 3 is the symbol Om, the Hindu symbol for creation, with the two half circles taken off. So 3 is creation. So anytime you see the number 3, it's creation. The number 9, 3 creations, 3 times 3. 9 is God. And the number system is a repetition of what it means to be in reality. Watch this. So 0, mom, physical matter, mom, 0, plus dad, 1, consciousness, 2, combine. 2 is combining curved and linear. So 1 plus 2 combine to create 3 linear things. 4, 5 is and, 6 is things in space-time. To what end? To the 7, to the ultimate length of width and the ultimate height, 7, and the ultimate completion of 2 circles, 8. Why? Because God, that stick figure, in a correct measurement, going counterclockwise, projected the universe. That's what 0 through 9 is. It's not 1 through 10, it's 0 through 9 is counting. 10 starts a new unit. But we teach it then Nazi backwards because you're supposed to be disconnected from the truth of things. And so while most people are fighting as to what your belief is versus what my belief is, no, the whole thing was like a chess game set up with silly rules. Okay? So the numbers are, so 9 is God. So all things in this universe, in space-time, must add up to 9. Always must. Just remember, as the first law, as above, so below is true. Therefore, we have equations. We can classify animals. We can classify the animal kingdom. The periodic table is all possible because as above, so below is true. I can go to my seashore in New Jersey and boil water, and every time I boil it, it's going to boil at the same temperature. At 1 degree or 1 bar atmosphere, lime's going to boil at 100 C every single time. That's a rule because it's a law, because as above, so below tells us the one. Well, guess what? If the one is the sample of the many, yes? That means when you see like an ant, that means there's not one ant, there's many ants. You see one human, there's many humans. Very rarely is there a lone wolf. That's why we call them, you strike them out as lone. Normally they're in groups. So the one is a sample of the many. Well, if our Earth, and we are conscious beings on Earth, and therefore by necessity, we are just like the same, by analogy, as a leaf on a gigantic oak tree. Is there always one leaf on a tree? Can't be. By the definition of as above, so below, there must be an infinite number of Earths just like us. And we have 13-year-olds hitting puberty because they have 13-year-olds hitting puberty. They go through the same life cycle stages we do, and they're bipedal hominoids. No ifs, ands, or buts. They may be taller, lighter, greener, faster, whatever. It don't matter. They're bipedal hominoids. No 3 eyes, 2 eyes. Would be an abnormality to have 3. Not 4 fingers, not 6. 6 too many, 4 too little. You need 5 to crochet and knit. We can crochet and knit because we have 5.
That's
So here's 10 base math.
which
Count by 5s. Wait, watch this. And now 60. So now watch. That's why there's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. What's a second? You don't know the truth. What's the second? It's the thump of a heartbeat. Everybody's is the same. Everybody's is the same. You can go faster or slower, but the thump is always the same amount of time as the second. But they don't tell you that. They make it sound like, oh, it's some Greek derivative. It's the second order of minuteness. What the fuck? No, that's upside down bullshit. Second is a heartbeat. And the funny of them, we do 72 heartbeats per every 60 seconds. That's 4,320 heartbeats per second on average. Now watch what happens when I do sacred math on your head. Okay, you ask me questions. Ask me about the moon, the sun. Go ahead. Great year. You talk about it. What do you want to know?
so that there are multiple universes, multiple dimensions that I am definitely aware of, that every other being is some sort of a bipedal hominid. It's likely if you look at the the alien races that people exist, they're always some sort of human-like figure or corrupted human-like figure. But I guess two questions for that. Would that mean that us humans, this human form, if you will, are we the blueprint from which like everything else is designed?
Yeah,
And
well,
are they are those beings, are they physical beings, or would they be, in your opinion, in your studies, would they be more dimensional beings?
this you're gonna love this. No, they'd be us. The only way to communicate with them so far away would be interdimensionally, and the ancients knew how to do it. That's what a Stargate was. But it was all based upon tripping. In case you didn't know, again, another lies we're taught. Do you know that what we are mushrooms that grew arms and legs? Our brain is a mushroom made of the same material that mushrooms is made from. It's the same neural network. That's where we get neural networks from. Is we have more in common with mushrooms than we do with plants. Yeah, we're mushrooms.
Oh, I mean,
So now if you look at it that way,
I know that they have a hard time, making out what mushrooms actually are, because they're not animals, they're not plants. They seem to be a
it,
entire
it's the
species in of
it's
itself,
the
which has nothing in
it's
common with whatever else there is.
it's a DNA carrier to every planet, like grows like dust in the wind. Just like the rock group's song, "Dust in the Wind," because that's exactly what it does. It's panspermia, but it's universal panspermia. Look at it this way, right? We now know that just in what we can see, there are something like what 2 trillion galaxies, right? So let's say if only one in a million galaxies, one in a million galaxies has an Earth, right?
That's
That means
still
there
several billion.
must be 2 million Earths just like us at some stage. Some that got collided with and died, some had this, some had nuclear, whatever. Anything fake. We're cosmonauts out here. We're right. There's no guarantees, and that's what the apocalypse was blamed on God by the Babylonians. God went from being the one who purposely killed the bad guys, wiped out the ancient knowledge, and made it voodoo taboo. Catholic Church was taken over by Nazis, Justinian the First. 526 made teaching metaphysics illegal, and 543 punishable by death. Oh, those are his great contributions. And they rewrote the Catholic Church from Jesus being consciousness. Christo in Greek means consciousness. Jesus is a metaphor for consciousness. Now, if you change the metaphor, everything about him is absolutely true. There is no way to God except through consciousness.
Yeah,
Now
I
you
agree on
understand
that.
everything. And what Jesus stands for is that every human will indeed reincarnate, because the third law of consciousness. Remember, we talk about the 3 laws of consciousness? Let's go back to
Hmm.
math, and then we'll do Zodiac. So first we know the first law is above, so below. The second law is 10 is 60 math. But now watch, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. There are sacred numbers, 432. That number will come up everywhere in our measurement system. It's just the building blocks of life, how it works. 4, 3, and 2. And it must be in some order. Well, we know there's an Earth and a moon and a sun, right? I don't know about the rest of that dots out there, but I know those. I see them every day, so I know they're around, right? So I know that the moon is closer than the sun, isn't it? Right?
Yes, yes, it is.
So, so if the distance between those two is some random number, I'm going to call it 432, a building block, and they appear the same size when they cross each other.
You're good.
That means the moon must be half of 432 and 1 order of magnitude 10 away. So the moon must be 2160 miles wide. You can look it up. It has to be. And watch this. The sun must be 2 times 432 wide, plus 1 order of magnitude to the moon, 1 order of magnitude to the imaginary 432, and 1 order of magnitude to the sun. So 3 zeros. And how wide is the sun? 864,000 miles wide. Must be. And it is. How about this? I don't hear you.
I looked up the circumference of the moon real quick. I'm assuming we're doing miles, not kilometers, because then the math doesn't add up. 2.5 centimeters. Yeah. $360. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, okay. I'm not that familiar with Plato's teachings. Yeah. I'm familiar with it. Not well versed in astrology, but I've seen enough of it to have an understanding of it. Yeah. Hmm. God, yeah. I imagine it having to do with the lack of direct sunlight. If we're, I mean, bloodbath, yeah, quite literally. If you mentioned Ymir, if we're going by the story of Ymir, Odin, that sounds like something Thor would do. Yeah, no, but it's from the body of Ymir, the primordial frost giant, that the three brothers, Vodin, Vili, and Ve, they created our planet. They created the Earth. So yeah, the rivers are quite literally a bloodbath because that is Ymir's blood. His broken bones are the mountains. Brain is the clouds. His skull is placed above the heavens. Mm-hmm. The Pillars of Hercules. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we got math, we got astrology. Yeah. Makes me makes me think of the Dire Straits. Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with the Disney version, but that's really about it. I haven't read the original. I I believe s- um I believe so. Yeah, I mean, the Great Fire. The it was the yeah Loki's a bastard. Yeah, it was yeah Surtur. The yeah with with his flaming sword. Well, I mean, yeah, just think of the giant flood a few years ago in Indonesia. I mean, if I look at my own parents, I'm the oldest of three. My sister, the youngest of us three, she gets away with so much more, like so much that I would have never gotten away with. So yeah, that's absolutely correct. Uh, I'd say so. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah. So 34. This is. I mean, it's quite personal to me. I am 34 years old. Um, eh, yes. Not with my wife, and I am trapped in a long-lasting legal battle with their mother. But yes, two. Um, 11 and 8. Eh, The Dutch school system is a little different, but yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a point of contention, and something that I've discussed multiple times. Yeah, yeah. Sure. After your golden years. Mhm. 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 Okay. Sure. I'm trying to process it as you go, but yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. It's It's fine. It's fine. You're on a roll, and I'm just gonna let you roll. Mhm. Uh, I mean that is where all that's where my physical life has started. No, I know reincarnation is absolutely a fact. Death is not the end. Death is just merely it's the end of a cycle. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Mhm. Yeah. 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 Yeah, no, if we are indeed, on a rock, which is very little rock and a whole lot of water, hurtling through space at several thousands, well, miles, kilometers, whatever, a second. How mm, the 25 is Saturnalia. That's Saturn's day. Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. Yeah. No, it did fall on a Monday. I just looked it up. No, I do believe you. I just wanted to double check. I'm 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 a skeptic. I'm a skeptic. I always want to double check. Hmm. On a Thursday, that's a good day. Thursday. Mm. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm not too up and up on my religious history. Yeah, Tier Tivas, yes, yes, sir. Yeah, that sounds about right. Thursday, Mars. Wednesday, Mercury. That adds up. Um, let's see. Jupiter. Would Jupiter would Jupiter be Thursday? Because Jupiter is also associated with Tyr. Jupiter, Dios Pater, father of the gods. Tyr is. Mm, and when the veil between worlds is at its thinnest, Samhain, indeed, for the Celts, for the Irish. Mhm. The Garden of Eden, the garden. I mean, that sounds like the old night tales. Sounds like the old fairy tales. And the official pronunciation is Knight. Yeah. The K, in at least in Old English, probably even Middle English still, the K wasn't silent. Yeah. No, that's I mean, I've even though I am a pagan, I am a heathen, I am a follower of the old gods, I do not deny the existence of Christ. I don't believe that he existed as we are told that he existed. I do acknowledge his teachings. They are very good, and in what in my mind should be common sense teachings. He basically just taught, look after each other and, punish the bad guys, which in my mind is very common sense. That's why I like the what I call the warrior Christ, the solar warrior, more than the pacifistic Christ that we have been given, the one that turns the other cheek, who says, love everyone. Yeah, I mean, I know his mythology is derived from a whole lot of different sources. It's part Apollo, it's part Odin, it's part the story of the Egyptian gods, Set, I believe. So I am very curious as to, well, what his actual story is, if you will. Hmm. Yeah, 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 hmm, Yeah. Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, they originally didn't even really acknowledge January and February as months because, like, what happens in those months? It's still cold. It's still dark. The Earth is still dead, pretty much. It's not until springtime that everything starts coming back alive. So yeah, you have Saturnalia, the returning of the light, then 3 months of the return because it takes a while. It's a long trip. I get it. Back from the underworld, it's a struggle. And then around springtime, everything comes back to life. It's the story of yeah. That's that's Crowley, right? Do what thou wilt. Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's why at least the old Rockefeller had 6 heart transplants because he was not about to leave this world and pick up the tab. No, but I do like what you're saying, but then I have a question, and this kind of goes back to what we're talking about with the gods, and this is something that is an interest of mine. So if you're saying that all gods are a reflection of each other, which I'm not too sure of. I still, yeah, yeah, that's yeah, hmm, yeah, So, what are your thoughts on the teachings of Carl Jung on the archetypes? Yeah. Mm. there that is also in the historical records that humanity got wiped out for like 90 to 95% or something. It's in a lot of books. It's also written down as a war between the gods. In the Germanic mythology, that would be the war between the Aesir and the Vanir. Kind of have the same in the Rig Veda of the Eastern teachings. Also, a war between the gods and a description of weapons used, which do sound a lot like nuclear weapons of some kind. So yeah, that is historical fact. I mean, there is no argument in that. Yeah. The Archer. Yeah. Oh, root language. Huh. Mhm. Yep. Damn. Okay. I mean, us Dutchies are the tallest already, but yeah. 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 No, I am a strong believer in that as well. A strong believer of the power of frequencies of I mean, just cymatics. I usually just throw it under the header of cymatics, the study of sound. Because sound is frequency. Yes, yes. Oh, absolutely, and that's why I also believe that many of the large, well, cathedrals that are standing today. First of all, they were not built with just hammer and chisel and you know horse and wagon and all of that. They are just too incredibly magnificent for that. Just like the sculptures of the great artists, the marble sculptures, marble being a incredibly hard material. Like if you can sculpt it in a way, there are a few sculptures that are absolutely amazing. One I don't remember the name of, but it's an example that's always pulled up. Someone grabbing a woman's thigh, and you can actually see the indent of the finger in the woman's thigh, which is absolutely amazing. And then there's another statue of, I believe, is a Greek god with a muscle in the forearm visible, which can only be visible if I believe the pinky finger is in a certain angle. So it's absolutely amazing. But yeah, the cathedrals, I do believe that they were the original healing centers because of the what was most likely true copper organs and the rose windows. I believe that they were, well, healing centers, frequency centers of some sort of the old worlds, or a world that has passed us, of a previous age. So is that why we call the city the concrete jungle still? Well, no, I believe that system is much older indeed. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, because the end of the Mayan calendar or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, something did. Something did change in 2012. That's for sure. Yeah. We are peaking in that. Yeah, absolutely. Mhm. You you see that in the Jungle Book as well, King Louis. Yeah. 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 Careless, carefree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Baloo the bear. Yeah. No, I just wanted to live a good life and fuck everyone else. Yeah. 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 Oh. Yeah. Mm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the dog star, I've heard a lot of comparisons to. I Yeah, Yahweh was a lesser deity. He was, yeah, part of the Elohim. No, I do. I'm a man of Thor. I'm a follower of Thor. He is, if we're talking brute strength, he absolutely is the most powerful of all the gods. He is the one. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, he is the most powerful one. I mean, we can wrap it up here. Like, we're we're a good we're a good 2.5 hours in. That's it happens. Mhm. Yeah. And that's also something that I never understood about wearing the cross. Like, if that's the, the thing that your supposed savior died on, like that was the ultimate punishment, like that was a very, well, very common Roman death penalty, basically. Why? Yeah, yeah. Hmm. So it's yeah, and what I've what I've also seen a lot is, of course, when you fold up across, you get the cube, which is often related to the black cube of Saturn. So I mean, it makes more sense to be on, like, on a cross, on an X. It's also just it's a lot easier that way. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Mm. Asura. Yeah. So, I mean, there are well followers of chaos, of the more chaotic gods. They are there, but not, that's not necessarily worship of Fenrir. That's more enlightenment through chaos, which is a it's like left hand path paganism. I've done a few videos on that. A question that I have, your comment about ham reminded me of that. We spoke briefly on after death, picking up the tab of what you have done in life, which is something that you see in all cultures, basically. And about reincarnation, the soul cycles, and all of that. Is it your understanding that the soul can degrade as well and go back into, like the animal kingdom, the plants kingdom, if you will? Because that's that my understanding of that, or what I've seen, at least. I'm not too sure still what to think about it. A forever skeptic. Is that is or supposedly is the reason why pig flesh and human flesh are so incredibly similar. I believe like 90 to 95% similar, is because pigs are degraded human souls, or degraded human beings, if you will. Yeah. True. Okay. Yeah. And that's it seems, for a while at least, I believe it has died down again. It seemed to be pushed, and I mean, these are facts. Sorry if we're hurting somebody's feelings. No, 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 absolutely. I mean, I live and let live, as long as you don't bother me. That's really yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's exactly it. It's so I love that I love that stoic mindset. But no, it seemed to be pushed for a while, and now you see more and more stories coming out about detransitioners, people who realized that they made a mistake transitioning, that it was a phase, if you will, but because of affirmation and confirmation from everybody around them. Yes, yes, if you believe that you're a girl, you're a girl, and let's go for hormones and let's like fucking chop everything off. They went through with it, but then at a later age, they realized like, no, no, I'm not. So that's what you see coming out now, and that's also unfortunately why um, suicide among transitioners is quite high, because a lot of them still no still so many after transitioning, after finally becoming who they are supposedly, they're still not whole, they're still not happy, they're still not who they are meant to be. Mm, mm. I'm not familiar with it. Okay, I don't think that aired here in the Netherlands. I'm aware of the Hunger Games. I think I've seen one or two movies. No. Uh, I mean, you're looking for cleanliness. You're looking to be yeah, sure. You better present yourself at your mm, mhm, mhm, mm. Yeah, mm. Whoa. Mhm. Hmm. Okay. Sure. Hmm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I never bought, the concept of hell, eternal punishment. That's something that just never sat right with me, and I also remember the words. Sure. Mhm. Uh, yeah. No, I'm seeing it right. I'm seeing it right. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yes. If they are all the same, yes. If they operate according to the same laws, yes. Yes. Well, 9 yeah, 9 is God. Yeah, but are they physical planets or are they dimensions? Oh. Oh, yeah, I mean, that makes a whole lot more sense 'cause I've actually been watching Stargate SG-1, lately. Fascinating series, I can't believe I've never watched it. I mean, I knew of it, but I never watched it. I do now, and it's funny because so many things that you said kinda line up with that. I mean, there's a lot of deception in it as well, but hey, it's Hollywood. What do you want? But the stargates that they use, I mean, first of all, I love that it goes by some sort of a symbolic runic script that activates it. That is, I do believe that that is 100% accurate. But and that's the same with Star Trek. The process of travel is a physical one, which would be impossible because it is literally the uh, disintegration and reconfiguration of you as a person, of all that you are. So basically, whenever you go into the Stargate or whenever you are, beamed up or beamed out by Scotty or fucking whoever, you die and are reborn. And that, then you come into the whole philosophical question like, are you still the same person then? Is the you that went into the Stargate who got disassembled or reassembled on a molecular level, is that still the same you? And it's that's kind of what was it, the ancient Greek myth of the Argonaut, I believe it was, the Odyssean story at least, that if you if you change the sails, change the mast, change all the planks of a ship or whatever, is it still the same ship? Hmm. That's true, but so are you? Does so But would that mean that every 7 years you you die and are reborn in a way? Since every 7 years your whole molecular structure is different from who you were 7 years ago, like you're not the same you, yet you are. Yeah, okay, true, sure. Huh. It's become a very it's become a very popular alternative for coffee. For those who are not a fan of coffee beans anymore, you have like now mushroom coffee, which I've tried. It's alright, but a little hard to come by, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And you can I mean, us Dutchies, we grew big because of milk and milk products. You know, milk, cheese, yogurt, whatever you wanna call it. That's why we keep chickens, that's why we keep ducks. Not necessarily for the meat, but for the eggs. And eggs are the OG superfood. No. Mhm. 100%. He's the protector of Midgard. He's the protector of Midgard. He's the protector of mankind. That is his role. No. It's a reason why fairy tales are still told, why the mythologies are still told, and why science seems to change every year. I my Oh, I know. My wife has a connection to the Fae folk, and she hears them, she sees them without needing to trip because she is of the Fae folk, basically. Oh yeah, I mean, here in Northern Europe, like we have so many stories of them, so many stories of the Fae folk and just every kind of Fae there is, like the Fae that's just, the well, that's the family tree. That's the trunk, and then you have like so many fucking branches and so many different names, different kinds, and all of that. I love them. I mean, they're very mischievous, and you don't want to piss them off. But yeah, I'm gonna have to save that for a next time. I mean, we're 3.5 hours in. Um, no, no, that's it's quite all right. You have a lot to tell, and I need to go all over this all again in my head, in my mind over the next coming days. Well, then we. That's true. I mean, we've. Yeah. There we've definitely we have hit on some points that I could um I mean, just topics that we could do a whole show about, like just standalone. Um but yeah, I'll have to, man, we can do a whole show on Atlantis, on Lemuria, Hyperborea, yeah, fucking whatever. Which is uh, well, let's start there next time. The realms and the ages, because like you keep talking about nine. I mean, you keep talking about nine is God and nine is divine and all of that. And my mind immediately, of course, goes to the nine realms or the nine worlds on the Yggdrasil, on the world tree. Um, yeah, no, it is. Let's for next time, because there's gonna have to be a next time, and also because I'm gonna be away for quite a few days. I'll be away for work. I'm going to a large EDM festival here in the Netherlands. I'll be working. I'll be electronic dance music. Yeah, DEF CON 1, the largest electronic music festival in I think pretty much in Europe, actually, and I'll be working security there from Wednesday evening till Monday morning. Um, so yeah, I've been packing, and I still need to I need to finish up some things and do some final things tomorrow. Um, of course, of course, I'm gonna. I mean, I'm gonna clearly have to edit this. I'll grab some of the highlights, and I'll take some notes on things that stood out to me, and things that I would love to have a discussion about, just on that. We'll try to have a discussion on just that topic. You branch off a lot, which is great, because I do too. Because one one thing reminds me of another thing. No, I mean, I branch off a lot too, because, one topic reminds me of another topic, which reminds me of that little fun fact, which reminds me of that mythology. So it's a thing on the show that just happens. Hey, and you've done a great job for, well, 3.5 hours about, well, pre-editing at least. So I do hope my audience is gonna be able to follow as well. Although I, of course, wouldn't mind having you guys watch it a time or two or three. Oh, I can't do 20 or 30 minutes. That's just, I mean, I'm just getting warmed up in 30 minutes. No, 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 no. That's quite all right. But I still need to have dinner. I still need to pack the last few things. I am sweating like crazy at the moment because we're having a heat wave here in the Netherlands. All right, thank you very. Yeah, no, of course. And for my audience who are curious about you and your teachings, where might they find you? Of course, if you can send me the links to your channel and your video, I'll make sure that they are in the description box down below. I always want to make sure that my guests are well represented as well, because I am learning so much from all of my guests, and I am very lucky that with me, a lot of people are too. Apparently, there is a niche for this. So I'm very, very happy and very glad about that. Joseph, thank you very much for that. They are is undeniable. Absolutely. And I'm trying to do my part in it by just presenting as many different voices and as many different people and as many different theories as possible. Well, thank you very much for. Yeah, no, absolutely. I will. I will. Well, thank you very much. I'll do my best to stay safe and be well. I mean, if I don't, my wife's gonna kill me anyway. So I'll be away for the rest of the week. Actually, I'll be checking in Wednesday evening, and I'll be checking out Monday morning. Yes, sir. Yes, I am. That's how I like it. That's how I want to do it. If I'm gonna go to a festival, I'm gonna go to a festival, and I'm gonna be there for as long as the festival is, for as long as it takes. I like that one. I like that. I'm gonna keep that one. That's a good one. Sure. I mean, nowadays, yeah, absolutely. I can get on board with that. It doesn't matter. It's yours now. Thank you very much. And of course, to my lovely audience, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I know it was a lot. So as I said, I don't mind if you watch it once, twice, three times. Have to listen to it once, twice, three times to understand it fully. I do understand. I'm going to have to make some notes myself as well. But as always, thank you all very much. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you're listening to this on Spotify. Make sure to give us that 5-star rating. It's a small effort, but means a lot. Follow us on Instagram at Greyhound Pagans. Let's see. Patreon, of course, for early access. Patreon.com/Greyhound Pagans, where I have the book club, early access, unedited shows, of course, so you can get the full raw experience, just raw humanity on your screen, because I know you perverts, that's how you like it, and so much more, of course. But everything can be found through our website, www.greyhoundpagans.com. I wish you all a good morning, good evening, good night, whatever it may be to you. And until the next time, when I will have, of course, another interesting guest, whether that be Joseph or someone else. So thank you all. Have a good one. Bye-bye. This was yet another amazing episode of the Greyhorn Pagans podcast. We thank you all for watching. We thank you all for listening. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you will be notified whenever we upload something new. Support us on Patreon for early access and for everything else that we do with the tribe, for everything else that we do with the podcast. Find us on www.greyhoundpagans.com. For now, we thank you